My uncle didn't want to make me a partner in the family business and chose his inexperienced son instead, but the competition has hired me, and now I'm a traitor to them. I, 34M, need to get this off my chest because my family is absolutely imploding right now, and I honestly don't know if I'm the bad guy here. Some background: my uncle Robert, 58M, runs Anderson Precision Manufacturing, a specialty manufacturing company that's been in our family for 3 generations. My grandfather started it in his garage in 1962, eventually growing it into a respected regional manufacturer of custom industrial components. He passed it to his sons, my father and uncle, and my father tragically passed away in a car accident when I was 22. The accident happened on a stormy night when he was driving home from a late client meeting, a meeting I was supposed to attend but had called out sick from. That guilt drove me to work even harder for the company. I started working summers at the factory when I was 16, sweeping floors and doing inventory counts. By 18, I was learning machine operation while getting my business degree. My father always said, "Learn it from the ground up, son. You can't lead people if you don't understand their work." I took those words to heart, spending time in every department, working every shift, and learning from our most experienced employees. The old-timers still talk about how I would come in on weekends to learn specialized techniques from retiring machinists. Joe Martinez, our head machinist for 40 years, taught me everything he knew about our oldest equipment before he retired. "Your father was a good man," he told me, "but you've got your grandfather's touch with the machines." After my father's death, Uncle Robert bought out my mom's shares for $2.1 million. At the time, it seemed like a lot of money, but I've since learned that the company was valued at over $15 million even then. My mom was grieving and overwhelmed. She just wanted to ensure I would have a place in the company and trusted Uncle Robert to keep his word about making me a partner eventually. Those next 12 years were intense. I modernized our production processes, implementing lean manufacturing principles I'd learned in college and adapted to our specific needs. I developed a proprietary quality control system that reduced our defect rate by 85%. Our clients loved it so much that 3 of them asked me to consult for their other suppliers. I brought in new clients through industry trade shows and networking events, often paying my own way because Uncle Robert thought they were a waste of money. One of those wastes of money led to our biggest account, a $12 million annual contract with National Motors. I spent 6 months courting that client, including flying to Detroit 12 times on my own dime. The revenue growth was staggering, from $8 million annually to over $32 million in just 8 years. We expanded from 1 facility to 3, and our workforce grew from 45 to 180 people. I personally hired and trained many of them, establishing training programs and career development paths that helped us maintain quality while scaling up. My personal life took a hit during these years. My girlfriend of 3 years, Sarah, left me in 2019 because I was married to the job. She wasn't wrong. I missed her brother's wedding because I was handling a production crisis. I rescheduled our anniversary dinner 3 times because of client meetings. The final straw was when I took a business call during her father's funeral. I'm not proud of that, but at the time, I thought I was building something that would make all the sacrifices worthwhile. Enter my cousin, Derek, 27M. While I was working 70-hour weeks, Derek was living his best life. He spent his college years pledging a fraternity and barely maintaining a 2.5 GPA in communications. After graduation, he convinced Uncle Robert to fund his finding himself journey through Europe, 2 years of Instagram posts from beaches and nightclubs, paid for by company profits that could have been reinvested in new equipment. When Derek got fired from his marketing job, after being warned multiple times about showing up late and unprepared, Uncle Robert suggested he join the family business. I still remember that meeting. "He just needs some direction," Uncle Robert said. "You can mentor him, show him the ropes like your father would have." I agreed, like an idiot. I created a comprehensive training program for Derek, similar to what I'd gone through but accelerated. He was supposed to spend 2 weeks in each department, learning the basics of our operation. He lasted 2 days in manufacturing before complaining that it was too loud and dirty. He skipped his training sessions in quality control because spreadsheets are boring. Instead, he spent his time trying to convince me we needed to build our social media presence and attract influencers. The workers couldn't stand him. He talked down to our most experienced employees, made inappropriate comments to female staff, and constantly reminded everyone that his dad owned the company. HR, which reported directly to Uncle Robert, ignored all complaints about his behavior. The real problems started when Derek began making promises to clients without understanding our capabilities. He told National Motors we could cut our lead times in half without consulting production. He quoted prices to new clients that were below our cost of materials because he didn't understand our pricing structure. Every mess he created, I had to clean up. The breaking point came during what I thought would be my partnership discussion. I had prepared a detailed presentation about my contributions, future growth strategies, and ideas for expanding into new markets. I never got to show it. Instead, Uncle Robert announced that Derek would become partner and COO, effective immediately. His justification was infuriating. Derek has fresh ideas about modernization. His youth and energy are what we need to take the company into the future. Besides, blood is thicker than water, and Derek is my son. You understand, don't you? You can still help him learn the ropes. When I pointed out that I had actually modernized the company and created all our growth, he waved it off. That's all technical stuff. Derek has vision. Did you know he has a YouTube channel? I handed in my resignation the next day. The look on Uncle Robert's face was priceless, like he couldn't comprehend that his actions might have consequences. He actually said, "But what about loyalty to the family?" The irony was completely lost on him. Word spread quickly in our industry. Within days, I had calls from 3 competitors. Marshall Manufacturing, our biggest competitor, made an offer I couldn't refuse: COO position, partnership track, stock options, and double my previous salary. More importantly, they valued my expertise and had a clear succession plan based on merit, not bloodlines. The transition was smooth, almost too smooth. Marshall's employees welcomed my experience, and I quickly began implementing improvements to their processes. Within 3 months, we had increased efficiency by 40% and reduced waste by 25%. Then the client exodus began. National Motors was the first to switch to Marshall, citing concerns about Anderson's new management. 3 more major clients followed. I didn't poach them, they reached out to me. Their exact words were, "We're not comfortable with an inexperienced COO handling our million-dollar contracts." The family reaction has been nuclear. Uncle Robert left me a voicemail calling me a Judas and threatening to destroy me in the industry. My Aunt Catherine sent a mass email to the entire extended family detailing my betrayal and claiming I was trying to bankrupt my cousin. Derek posted a TikTok, with his whole 230 followers, accusing me of stealing trade secrets. The latest development is both satisfying and concerning. Anderson's quality has plummeted under Derek's leadership. Their defect rate is up 200%, they've missed multiple delivery deadlines, and 3 of their best engineers have submitted their resumes to Marshall. The local business journal is writing a story about the company's decline, and Uncle Robert is trying to blame it all on corporate espionage by me. Yesterday, I received a formal cease and desist letter from Anderson's lawyers, claiming I've violated non-existent trade secrets. My lawyer says it's baseless, everything I know is from my own experience and innovations. There was never even a non-compete agreement because Uncle Robert was too cheap to have proper employment contracts drawn up. The family is choosing sides. Most of my cousins have blocked me on social media, though a few secretly support me. My mom is torn, she supports my decision but hates seeing the family torn apart. She recently revealed that my father had always planned to pass his shares to me directly, but nothing was in writing when he died. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Mr. Thompson, my grandfather's original business partner, reached out after hearing about the situation. He's 82 now but sharp as ever. He told me that my grandfather had specific provisions about merit-based succession in the original partnership agreement. Unfortunately, those provisions were mysteriously absent from the version Uncle Robert presented after my father's death. Last week, I heard that Anderson's biggest supplier put them on credit hold due to late payments. They've had to reduce their workforce by 15%, and rumors are circulating about possible bankruptcy. Derek's solution? He wants to pivot to digital and become an influencer-driven brand. Whatever that means. The guilt is complicated. I'm not responsible for their poor management decisions, but watching my grandfather's legacy crumble is painful. The employees who are losing their jobs? I trained many of them. But I also know this isn't my fault, it's the predictable result of choosing nepotism over competence. Edit 1. This blew up overnight. Thank you for all the awards and comments. I'll try to address some common questions. 1. Regarding the non-compete, yes, I checked with 2 lawyers before accepting the marshal position. Uncle Robert never had proper employment contracts drawn up because he thought they were a waste of money on family. 2. About my mother's settlement, we've consulted a lawyer about the undervalued buyout. There might be a case, but the statute of limitations is a concern. We're still investigating. 3. The original partnership agreement. Mr. Thompson has provided a sworn affidavit about the original merit-based succession provisions. My lawyer is very interested in this. 4. Derek's qualifications. His complete resume includes communications degree, 2.5 GPA, 6 months at a marketing firm. YouTube travel channel, 127 subscribers, TikTok account, 230 followers, self-proclaimed crypto expert, lost $50,000 of company money in Bitcoin, extensive international business experience, backpacking through Europe. Edit 2. My cousin Lisa just called. Apparently, Derek's latest innovation is trying to get Anderson to accept cryptocurrency as payment from clients. He's also hired his fraternity brother as Chief Innovation Officer, a position that never existed before. Edit 3. Breaking news. National Motors just issued a press release announcing they're consolidating their supplier base. Anderson isn't on the approved vendor list for 2025. This contract was 40% of their annual revenue. Final update. The situation has evolved significantly. After reviewing Mr. Thompson's documents, my lawyer believes we have a strong case for fraudulent manipulation of the original partnership agreement. However, I've decided not to pursue legal action. The company's current financial state means any victory would be Pyrrhic at best. Marshall has offered to hire any displaced Anderson employees who meet our qualifications. We've already brought on 2 of their best engineers and their former quality manager. I've recused myself from all hiring decisions to avoid any appearance of impropriety. Uncle Robert finally reached out yesterday, not to apologize, but to demand I fix this mess. I declined. As I told him, blood may be thicker than water, but competence is thicker than both. For those asking about my future, I'm engaged to a wonderful woman I met at a Marshall client dinner. She's a manufacturing engineer who actually understands what I do for a living. We're planning a small wedding next spring, no extended family drama included. The most valuable lesson I've learned is that real family loyalty goes both ways. It's not about blindly accepting unfair treatment because of blood ties. It's about mutual respect, recognition of merit, and supporting each other's growth. Sometimes, the most loyal thing you can do is walk away from toxic situations, even when they're wrapped in family obligations. Thank you, Reddit, for helping me see that I'm not the villain in this story. I'm just someone who finally decided to value myself as much as I valued a family legacy that others were willing to destroy. Final update. It's been 6 months since my last post, and wow, has a lot happened. I wasn't planning to update again, but recent events have changed everything, and I feel like I owe you all closure on this story. The biggest news first, Anderson Precision Manufacturing filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy last month. The writing was on the wall after they lost the National Motors contract, but what finally broke them was Derek's crypto innovation strategy. He convinced Uncle Robert to invest their remaining capital reserves into creating an NFT-based supply chain solution, whatever that means, and converting 30% of their liquid assets to cryptocurrency, right before the latest crypto crash. But here's where it gets really interesting. During the bankruptcy proceedings, the court-appointed auditor discovered some concerning irregularities in the company's books going back to when Uncle Robert bought out my mom's shares. Turns out Uncle Robert had been maintaining 2 sets of books for years, one for taxes and family, and one showing the real numbers. The real valuation of the company when he bought my mom's shares was closer to $30 million, not the $15 million we previously thought. The FBI is now involved. I can't share too many details due to the ongoing investigation, but let's just say Uncle Robert's problems are no longer limited to bankruptcy court. Derek, in his infinite wisdom, tried to blame everything on me in a rambling Instagram live session. He claimed I had sabotaged the company's blockchain integration and that my negative energy had caused the crypto crash. The session ended abruptly when FBI agents arrived at his house with a warrant. Now for some positive news. 1. Marshall Manufacturing has exceeded all growth projections since I joined. We're up 85% year over year, and we just broke ground on a new facility that will create 250 jobs. I've been promoted to CEO, and my innovative manufacturing processes are being implemented across all our locations. 2. Remember those Anderson employees I mentioned? We've hired 47 of them so far. They brought valuable skills and institutional knowledge, and they're thriving in an environment that appreciates their expertise. The head machinist, Joe Martinez's son, told me yesterday that this is the first time in years he's actually excited to go to work. 3. My mom's lawyer, with evidence from the forensic audit, has filed a civil suit against Uncle Robert for fraud regarding the share buyout. The preliminary hearing is next month, but Uncle Robert's lawyers are already talking settlement. 4. Remember Mr. Thompson, my grandfather's former partner? He didn't just provide an affidavit, he had kept copies of all the original partnership documents in a safety deposit box. Your grandfather always said to keep copies of everything, he told me. He never quite trusted Robert. Smart man, my grandfather. The family situation has shifted dramatically. Aunt Catherine, Uncle Robert's wife, has filed for divorce after discovering he had a second family in another state. Apparently, some of those business trips weren't for business. Several cousins who previously shunned me have reached out to apologize. I'm cautiously rebuilding relationships with those who seem genuinely remorseful. Derek has moved back in with his mom and started a YouTube channel about crypto market manipulation by big manufacturing. He has 86 subscribers. On a personal note, Emily, my fiancée, and I got married last month in a small ceremony. We had some surprising guests. 3 former Anderson board members attended and apologized for not standing up to Uncle Robert years ago. They also brought wedding gifts, copies of their testimonies to the FBI about Uncle Robert's financial misconduct. Some of you might think I feel vindicated by all this. Truthfully, I mostly feel sad. My grandfather built something amazing from nothing, and watching it collapse because of greed and incompetence is heartbreaking. But there's also hope. The bankruptcy trustee has approached Marshall about potentially purchasing Anderson's assets. If it goes through, I'll be overseeing the integration. My first priority will be preserving as many jobs as possible. My second will be restoring my grandfather's original vision of a company built on merit and innovation rather than nepotism and entitlement. The old Anderson facility sign is being auctioned off next week. I'm going to buy it and donate it to the local industrial museum along with a display about my grandfather's legacy. The curator is particularly interested in including a section about how not to transition a family business. Life lessons from this whole saga. 1. Document everything. Mr. Thompson's meticulous record-keeping proved invaluable. 2. Trust your instincts. I knew something was wrong long before I had proof. 3. Real loyalty isn't about blindly accepting mistreatment from family, it's about honoring the principles and values that family should represent. 4. Success is the best revenge, but karma handles the paperwork. 5. Never invest company funds in cryptocurrency just because your inexperienced cousin saw a TikTok about it. Final thoughts. My grandfather had a saying engraved over the original factory door: quality is built by hands guided by knowledge, not by names written on papers. I'm having it installed in Marshall's new facility. Some traditions are worth keeping. Thank you, Reddit, for being part of this journey. Special thanks to you /businesslawyer84 who first suggested looking into the original partnership documents. You quite literally changed the course of this story. Edit 2, Emily just reminded me to mention, we're expecting our first child in February. We're naming him after my grandfather. Uncle Robert found out through family gossip, and had his lawyer send a cease and desist about using the family name. Our lawyer's response was a single emoji. In the end, Karma got a business degree, and Uncle Robert got an FBI file.